Sri Lanka's most powerful news brand.
Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the Bulletin with me, Shen Silva. Let's start off with a look at your headlines.
Presidential Commission to investigate Sri Lankan Airlines and Mihin Lanka to be appointed in the first week of January. Board of Directors of Sri Lankan Airlines to resign. 3 underworld figures connected to serious crimes contesting local government elections. Rescuers search for Philippine storm victims as toll rises to 200.
On to your stories in detail now. President Maithripala Sirisena announced that the Presidential Commission of Inquiry to look into fraud and corruption at Sri Lankan Airlines and Mihin Lanka will be appointed in the first week of January. The President made this statement at a Sri Lanka Freedom Party meeting in Kaduwela this morning.
The public rally was held under the theme dubbed "Let's Begin the Battle to Win Kaduwela." At the meeting, the President reiterated that he remains committed to achieve a clean political movement regardless of any challenge he may have to face.
The political sector is the sector which has deteriorated the most in this country over the past 3 decades. Politicians have tarnished their own image and personalities through their behavior. They have lost the respect and acceptance among the people. Apart from the 20 to 25% who have all the good qualities of decency and discipline, the rest of the 65 to 70% are not suitable to be in politics. Our number one aspiration is to build a new political generation with honesty and discipline. It was during Prime Minister Bandaranaike's government that the Talagoda Commission was appointed against thieves and fraudsters. This led to the sacking of 2 ministers. Since then, it was under this government that ministers had to leave their posts. If politics is unclean, the entire country becomes unclean. I remember when I appointed this commission for the central bank bond scam. People said the commission is being appointed to cover up the scam. But as the commission progressed with its investigation, everyone, even the young children in the village, started to say they are finally able to see how a commission does something right. There was acceptance within the country. But people are asking me now what happens after the Bond Commission report is out. The specialty of this commission is that even before it has published its report, under its advice, the Attorney General's Department, Criminal Investigations Department and Sri Lanka Police are already taking measures to file legal cases against those involved. On one hand, the entire country is waiting for the Commission's report on the central bank. Within the first week of January, I will appoint a similar Presidential Commission of Inquiry to look into Sri Lankan Airlines and Mihin Lanka and submit a report on that as well. Today, Sri Lankan Airlines has fallen to a state where it cannot function any further. There is a debt of about 60 to 65 billion. These are public funds. Public property has been severely misused because of Sri Lankan Airlines, which is why a decision has been made to appoint a commission so we can ascertain what happened and what should be done.
The Sunday Times reported today that 6 board members of the continually loss-making national carrier Sri Lankan Airlines have written to the Prime Minister offering to resign at his request.
The 6 members who have signed the letter are Chairman Ajit Dias, Executive Director Rakita Jayawardena, Chanaka De Silva, Joseph Rajan Brito, Niranjan De Silva Deva Aditya and Mahinda Haradasa. According to the Sunday Times, the letter to the Prime Minister says that they are willing to resign in order to facilitate a proposed restructuring of the company. Recently, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Management, headed by the Prime Minister, appointed a committee of public officials to oversee the restructuring of the airline. The committee's preliminary report was submitted on the 20th of this month. According to a senior official at the Ministry of Public Enterprise Development, the report had noted the need for changes in the airline's management. The committee in question had recommended the removal of the current management. We do not think that the resignation of the board of directors and the management who are accountable for the deterioration of the airline will resolve the problem alone. We have been informed that the current chairman Ajit Dias has noted that they are prepared to resign from the board of directors to facilitate the restructuring proposal. As trade unions, we believe that the restructuring should be carried out by individuals with experience in civil aviation who understand national duty and not by a group of loyalists of the Prime Minister. On behalf of all trade unions, we express our gratitude to His Excellency President Maithripala Sirisena. The danger was such that the national carrier could have been lost. But through the Commission report, the people will be able to find out whose sins they were paying for. Priority should be given above all else to the Commission that is to be appointed by the President.
Well, rethink and revamp. This was the theme of the Sri Lankan Airlines annual report for 2016-2017. Let's take a minute to meet the board of directors of Sri Lankan Airlines. This was their vision, to be the most preferred airline in Asia. So these are the questions that we need to ask. In the time period between 2016-2017, since this current management came into being after 2015, has there been a rethink and a revamp? And has the airline moved towards being the most preferred airline in Asia? Here is our board of directors. Let's start from the top. We have the chairman, Mr. Ajit Dias. He's a well-known industrialist, has a wealth of experience, a pioneer, in fact, in the apparel industry. He also has business interests in agriculture, leisure, and the food and beverage industry. Then we have Mr. JMS Brito, who was also appointed to the board of Sri Lankan Airlines on the 12th of February 2015. He has an LLB, an MBA, and he's a fellow of both the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka and the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales. He also has a wealth of 35 years of experience in international organizations, including PwC and the World Bank. Presently, Deputy Chairman and Managing Director of Aitken Spence, and also has previously held positions in several prominent companies. Then we have Mr. Chanaka De Silva, who was also appointed on the 12th of February 2015. He is also Director of Sri Lankan Catering. He has held senior management positions in several prominent companies, and also has a lot of experience in business. Then we have Mr. Mahinda Haradasa, a lawyer by profession with over 40 years of practice, presently a senior partner at a prominent law firm in Colombo, also a member of the Asian Patent Attorneys Association and the Inter-Pacific Bar Association. Then Rakitha Jayawardena. Also on the 20th of February 2015, he was appointed to Sri Lankan Airlines. He has over 30 years of experience in the global airline industry. He has provided services to large legacy carriers, charters, and low-cost airlines across the world. Then we have Lieutenant Colonel Sunil D. Piris, who is known not to be an active member of the board of directors. He's a retired army officer with 22 years of service, also has served in management as a director of several prominent companies here in Sri Lanka and also overseas in Australia. He's a fellow member of the Chartered Institute of Management and holds a master's in political and international relations studies. Then we have Mr. Harendra Balapattabandi, an accomplished entrepreneur with over 20 years of experience in a plethora of industries. He's also held several prominent positions in several prominent senior positions in companies here in Sri Lanka. Finally, we have Mr. Niranjan De Silva Deva Aditya, popularly known as Nirj Deva. He's also an aeronautical engineer. That's his professional qualification, but he's probably most well known for being a member of the Conservative Party in Britain and for serving as an MP between 1992 and 97, and thereafter as a member of the European Parliament. So these are the board of directors, highly qualified individuals. Their qualifications are not to be belittled, but let's take a quick look at the financials of Sri Lankan Airlines from the annual report for 2016-2017. Revenue for 2017 was over 138 billion rupees, but the operating expenditure was over 146 billion rupees. This led to a net loss for the year of over 28 billion rupees. This is an airline that is already billions of rupees in debt. So where does this leave Sri Lankan Airlines in terms of rethink and revamp? Is the senior management or board of directors involved in a rethink and revamp? We've seen that a committee of public officials has been appointed to overlook this restructuring of Sri Lankan Airlines, but what form will it take? Recently, a cabinet paper was put forward by two ministers, the Minister of Tourism Development and the Prime Minister himself, regarding a budget airline, Air Asia Sri Lanka. This is what the Minister of Tourism Development, John Amaratunga, had to say on the subject recently. So there you have it, the restructuring of Sri Lankan Airlines, or the introduction of a so-called budget airline in the form of Air Asia Lanka. The cabinet paper had come. I'm not aware of exactly what was in it, but I will look into it. So the authorities seem to be unaware of what form this restructuring will take place, and we certainly are unaware as well. Back to you in the studio, Shane.
Thank you, Nadim. And with that, we go in for a short commercial break. Stay with News First. Welcome back to the news. Speaking at a rally in Yatiyantota this afternoon, leader of the JVP, MP Iwakuma Disanayaka, commented on the bond scam.
Instead of arresting the corrupt, Ranil Wickremesinghe protects them. If you voted for the UNP hoping that they will catch thieves, don't vote for them because they didn't do it. Some might have voted requesting him not to steal. Did he do that? The government was formed on the 8th of January. There was a great deal of excitement regarding anti-corruption. However, when the people were getting ready to catch thieves, Ranil Wickremesinghe was planning to commit a robbery. The government was formed on the 8th of January. The bond scam took place on the 27th of February. He brought in Arjuna Mahendran, a Singaporean national, to govern the central bank. The primary business of Mahendran's son-in-law was lending money to the central bank. This is what treasury bonds are. During the general election, did you see the amount of advertising on TVs and papers? The UNP didn't have money to pay the electricity bill of Sirikota before the government was established. Yet, they had plenty of money by August for campaigning. Did the UNP get hold of Aladdin's lamp when Ranil Wickremesinghe became the Prime Minister? They didn't find the lamp, but they found the genie named Arjuna Mahendran. This is how they stole. A presidential commission was appointed. Everything is being revealed through it. A thief has no moral right to prosecute a thief. So the UNP has no moral right to punish those involved in this scam. If they want to make this right, they should prioritize the cases against everyone who is implicated through the bond scam report.
The tenure of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into the bond issue will end in 7 days. The people await the decision of the Bond Commission.
The Sunday Times reported today that the Trust Ordinance is to be amended to empower the Central Bank's Financial Intelligence Unit and other governmental authorities dealing with money laundering and terrorism financing to obtain information relating to any trust.
The Trust Amendment Bill, which was gazetted last week, will also have new provisions enabling the Registrar General to maintain a register of trusts. According to the Sunday Times, trustees will also be required to keep records of information such as the details of core trusts, the author of the trust, the beneficiary, any other person engaged in the execution of the trust in the capacity of an agent, a legal representative, a manager, an investment advisor or tax advisor, an accountant or otherwise. Speaking to News First, governance activist and former chairman of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, Chandra Jayaratne, said the bill appears to be, quote, quite a normal piece of amendment, essential to cover a presently existing gap, unquote. However, Jayaratne raised concerns over whether offenders can be sued for money laundering offences when such trusts have engaged in violation of laws involving foreign exchange, given the repeal of the Exchange Control Act and the absence of penal sanctions as per the new Foreign Exchange Act. The new Foreign Exchange Act came into effect amid much controversy, with allegations from many quarters that the act was intended to acquit those accused of financial crimes.
Under the Foreign Exchange Act, no charge can be filed against anyone who committed a crime under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act and many of those who testified before the Bond Commission. They will be seen as people who have been acquitted. This act has been passed by deceiving everyone else.
Cabinet approval has been granted for the maintenance of the Turbine Auxiliary Unit 2 at the Lakvijaya Power Station at Norachole. China Machinery Engineering, or CMEC, the company which built the power plant, has submitted a bid of $1,707,300 or approximately 263.4 million rupees.
According to a report in the Daily Mirror, a memorandum of understanding for maintenance work has been signed between CMEC and the CEB. Accordingly, CMEC services should be obtained for maintenance of the plant. This agreement is valid until September 2019. The Daily Mirror reported that the Technical Evaluation Committee, or TEC, and Standing Cabinet-appointed Procurement Committee, SCAPC, has been appointed to evaluate a quotation obtained for maintenance of the Puttalam coal power plant from the original contractor CMEC by the Department of Public Finance. As per the TEC, CMEC has quoted all required man-hours of required expertise for all activities with the rates. Their bid of 263.4 million rupees indicated that they will complete all activities within 46 days, including 7 days for turbine cooling. On the 19th of this month, Cabinet rejected a proposal for two 600-megawatt coal-fired power plants to be introduced to the long-term generation plan. A joint Cabinet paper containing the proposal was presented on the 23rd of November by Ministers Ranjit Siyambalapitia and Dr. Sarath Amunugama. The Cabinet paper proposed the construction of two 600-megawatt high-efficiency coal power plants at Foul Point in Trincomalee and Norachule in Puttalam. The Cabinet paper also sought land allocation of 600 acres in Foul Point and 500 acres in Norachule for the two power plants. However, environmental organizations, civil and political activists had mounted strong opposition to this proposal, citing the severe environmental damage that could be caused. It appears that no matter how much you scream yourself hoarse, the coal addiction will not go away. Groups that have previously opposed embracing coal-fired power plants are now calling for coal as well. There's talk of so-called clean coal. So, a proposal has been put forward for two new coal-fired power plants, which was duly rejected by Cabinet, quite rightly, given that it is the government's policy to move away from fossil fuels and towards renewables and alternate energy sources. So, Minister of Power and Renewable Energy, Ranjit Siyambalapitia, and Minister of Special Assignments or Special Projects, Dr. Sarath Amunugama, put forward this joint Cabinet paper. The question is, why? On one of his first overseas visits since taking office, President Maithripala Sirisena at the Paris summit voiced Sri Lanka's commitment to step away from fossil fuels. However, it seems that there is a lot of opposition to move away from coal, specifically from within the CEB and from within certain quarters in government, it appears. Just a quick look at the cost of coal, the environmental damage that coal brings. This is the Four Corners power plant in New Mexico in the United States. It draws in water from Lake Morgan to feed the coal power plant, to get the steam, to get the turbines going. Each year, the power plant uses 9 billion gallons of water, and 2 billion gallons of water are lost to evaporation. 11 million tons of carbon dioxide are released into the atmosphere. Not only that, the mine that feeds coal to the power plant releases methane, a greenhouse gas that is 86 times more potent than carbon dioxide. It causes serious damage to aquaculture, and the fly ash, the coal ash waste that is left behind, also creates serious problems. We've seen this happen in Norachule. We've seen it with our own eyes. So we have to ask the question, for whose interest is Sri Lanka still addicted to coal? Or certain sectors in Sri Lanka, within the CEB and within the bureaucracy, seem to still be addicted to coal. The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka, the regulator, has approved a long-term generation plan. But the implementation of that long-term generation plan is being delayed because of this struggle to get coal back into the plan. We spoke to several environmentalists and experts in the energy sector to find out what they thought of this new plan.
Why is there a sudden need to construct coal power plants? The timing is very suspicious. The Cabinet did not accept the proposal because it goes against the government policies. In that case, why was this proposal forwarded? Because this will ensure that we continue to import coal, and everyone knows that there is a scam behind the importation of coal. A unit of power produced from a coal power plant costs 18 rupees and 60 cents. These plants are not up to standard and they face continuous breakdowns. Even now, millions are being spent to refurbish them. Taking all this into consideration, we need to think whether there are unseen forces behind this pivot to coal power plants. These ministers should think once again, because the government has a definitive policy. The prices are high and it is not good for the environment. This is a serious issue.
හදිසි යෝජනා ඉදිරිපත් කරන්නේ මේක ඊටාම බරපතල තත්ත්වයක්
මේ ගේන්න හදන්නේ.
They are trying to bring down coal power plants which have been rejected by Japan. They buy these power plants for cheap, bring them down to the country and engage in a large scam. Those in power as well as the officials are attempting to pocket this money and plunge this country into a crisis once again. As the need for coal grows and the available resources depletes, the prices will rise. When this happens, who benefits from the tenders? They benefit to the tune of billions and trillions. Specialists have proven already that those living around coal power plants suffer from respiratory diseases as well as cancer. This is an environmental crisis. If those in power believe that coal is the way forward, then God bless the nation.
බලශක්තියට විසඳුම ගල්ලංගුරු කියලා.
The People's Action for a Free and Fair Election, or PAFREL, says that more than 32 candidates contesting the upcoming local government election are linked to various crimes.
Executive Director of PAFREL, Rohan Hettiarachchi, said details of a few candidates linked to underworld gang members have been revealed. He added such groups have handed over nominations from the districts of Ampara, Kegol, Putlam, Kurunagala, Gaul, Kalutara and Colombo. Meanwhile, security units have confirmed that 3 underworld leaders involved in serious crimes are also contesting the forthcoming local government election. A senior officer at the Police Special Task Force said the 3 candidates are to contest from the Valigama and Colombo areas. The senior police officer said the 3 candidates are being closely monitored.
Views were expressed on the political stage today on the upcoming local government election.
All of the main political parties are announcing to the country that they would clean the political system. But when you look at the groups they have fielded, there appears to be 33 underworld gang members. So it is time to make way for a party with a new political culture.
90% of the chairpersons in the past were of the habit of stealing, taking over state-owned land, creating quarries and mining. All of this has been their duty. The chairman of the neighbouring electorate, who obtained a bribe of 3 million rupees, is a member of GL Pirisa's party.
The deal is between Ranil and Mahinda, no one else, which is why the thieves in Team Mahinda did not get punished. They are all the same type of people. There is evidence to prove it. The people have made their choice today.
During the term of Madam Sirimavo and Madam Chandrika, there were issues within the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, but the party never split into 2. But Mahinda Rajapaksa has made that possible today, and in a short period of time as well. Some say that this is a conspiracy of the UNP leader. Well, we know nothing about it.
The incumbent leader of the party, Maithripala Sirisena, is trying to unite everyone within the party. If not today, tomorrow. We are doing everything we can to get everyone who left the party back into the party at any time.
Families contesting elections is not something new for Sri Lanka. As it has in the past, this time too, several candidates of prominent politicians handed over nominations to contest the upcoming local government polls.
Lalit Pereira, the younger brother of Deputy Minister of Power and Renewable Energy Ajit P. Pereira, will be contesting for the Bandaragama Pradesh Sabha under the United National Party ticket. National Congress leader, former Minister ALM Ataullah's 2 sons are contesting for the Akkare Pattu Municipal Council. R. Amudan, the son of Ilangai Tamil RC culture leader MP Mave Senadi Raja, is contesting the local government poll for the Valikamam North Pradesh Sabha. Praveen Ratnayaka, the son of former opposition leader of the North Central Province Anil Ratnayaka, is contesting the local government election from the United National Party for the Thalava Pradesh Sabha.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says the Mattala airport will be relaunched within the first half of next year. The Prime Minister was speaking to the media during an inspection tour of the Alla area recently.
Today, Alla has become one of the country's key tourist centres. At the end of the first half of next year, once we relaunch and open the Mattala airport, the number of tourists coming to the Badulla district will increase. Most of them will come to Alla, which is a transit point for them to go to Badulla and Bandarwala. So a planned development is needed for Alla.
Data from the Central Bank of Sri Lanka has revealed the total number of man-days lost to labour strikes reached a 10-year high last year.
Quoting central bank data, the Sunday Times newspaper reported an overall 104,327 man-days squandered in 41 strikes, the worst tally since 2007. During the course of this year, strike actions were staged against the policy decisions of the government, including SITEM, the restructuring of state institutions, and the signing of international agreements, while medical, nursing, CEB, railways and CPC and surveyors trade unions staged strike actions over their demands.
So it's very clear that there's a political agenda behind this. So that means that we pay salary for the workers, particularly for the government workers, but they are not coming for the work. So that means our productivity level is continuously decreasing. When the productivity is decreasing, so we can't expect any sort of economic development. And even that, give a message to the outsiders, the country political instability and the economic instability, and because of that, even the foreign direct investments are not coming to Sri Lanka.
The opening of the United National Party Election Coordination Centre for the Tissa Maharama electorate took place today. Minister of Housing and Construction and Deputy Leader of the United National Party, Sajith Premadasa, attended the event together with Hema Premadasa.
A group from the Janata Vimukti Peramuna and the joint opposition also took up membership with the United National Party during this event. The former president of this country is saying that I have prohibited candidates from the party from taking any contracts. This is the biggest lie that has been made this century. This is what the conspirator of so many questionable contracts is now saying. They robbed from the harbour, the airport, the stadium, the sky, the clouds and whatever else they could steal from. They were so greedy for money that they tried to steal even from the sand deposit that saved Tissa Maharama from the tsunami. Having stolen from everything, they even tried to steal from this deposit as well. There, that is the truth.
Well, that's a look at your bulletin for tonight. It was a pleasure having you with us. Hope you have a very Merry Christmas. I'm Shane Silva for News First.